Fine. I have to redo the premise. The whole premise here. The premise of what we're doing here today, I gotta explain to you. The premise of what we're doing here today. Are Team Rocket gonna steal your starter Pokemon? Oh, the tier list? Yeah, absolutely. This is your suggestion. Are Team Rocket gonna steal your Pokemon? It's a serious worry. It's a serious concern that we all have. We all think about it on the daily. And who's your favorite Pokemon? Everyone's favorite Pokemon is their starter. So how worried... Because you're not going to stop Team Rocket. We're coming for you. We're coming for you. We're taking them. But how worried do you really need to be? And that depends on the starter that you have. I think I'm going to go through... I'll go through generations. I'll go through generation-wise. I think that's the only fair way to do this. I think immediately... Gen 1. Gen 1, you're immediately in the elite tier of these are the Pokemon I want to steal the most from you, an innocent child who just got it. Bulbasaur, my personal favorite of these three. My personal favorite starter, actually, at all. But what's the resale value? What's the resale value of a Bulbasaur? Not as high as the other two. I still think it's high. So here he goes. He goes in A. I think I need to add another tier here. Because some of these do deserve F. Charmander, Squirtle. I think you can't be Gen 1 and not be A, at least. So Squirtle, we're going to have to put A as well. Of all of the water starters, if I saw them and I was like, am I going to nick it? The ones that are turning my head, all of the Gen 1s, I think, yeah, no, Squirtle's in there. Squirtle has to be in here. And I don't think there's any argument that this possibly might be the Pokemon that if I steal from you and sell it, I will make the most money. And that is Charmander. I think Charmander might be the most indisputed, most expensive Pokemon. I mean, the uses for me, obviously as a Team Rocket member, are infinite. Do I keep it and have a super strong Fire Dragon Man helping me steal all of your other Pokemon? Yeah, he pays for himself. Or sell him on so I can fund more, espionage gear so I can steal more of your Pokemon. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Charmander, S, absolute S. Even though on my actual preferential list, he's probably an A. Maybe not even. No, he's an A. He is an A. Gen 2. I think Gen 2 gets a little bit more interesting. There's a little bit more diversity here. Including, I think, the first to fall out of S or A tier. And that's Chikorita. Chikorita hangs out in this area. I don't think anyone in the first three generations can be put in F. I don't think that's doable. Not because they don't deserve it, but because you can't have been around for that long and not have some diehard fans. So there's a niche market for all of these. But is the niche market for Chikorita really that, is it worth even considering? And I don't really think it is as much as the others. So D. I think, yeah, we're going to go D. It is not that sellable. I don't think the resale value on Chikorita is that high. I'm not going to steal other Pokemon with it. So I think into D tier you go. Now, Cyndaquil. Cyndaquil is an interesting one. I would have said, until very recently, that Cyndaquil nestles right into this little bad boy. Right into an A. It's a Gen 2 Pokemon, so it's got that going for it. It's an early boy, early doors. Typhlosion's great. Same stats as Charizard, so it's strong. pure fire type, people like fire types, they're quite rare. There's a lot of things going for it right here. There's a lot of things going for it. But it's not quite got the same wow factor as a Charizard. And you may ask, what's changed? Hisuian forms. We didn't know about Hisuian forms. Now it has a ghost fire type. Does that put it into S? Does that make this an S tier Pokemon because it has another form? I can repackage this as one of the very few Hisuian Cyndaquils and make more money off of it. That's a level of manipulation and money grabbing that I am comfortable with and I am happy with and I will be committing to. Into STU you go. I think it has to be. It has to be. With a Hisuian form, it has to be. And now, right into B. I'm not having any discussion about this. I don't want to hear anyone's opinion on this. I don't care what you think. Everyone loves Totodile. I know they do. Yeah, great resale, great whatever. I can't bring myself to put it above a B. I dislike Totodile. I don't like it. I've never liked it. Everyone else likes it, but I don't. And is this about which Pokemon I like? I'm making the video, so it's about whatever the fuck I want it to be, really. But resale value is probably really good on Totodile. It is strong, so it's probably going to help me a lot. But do I want to be near one? And the answer is no. So into B it goes. I'm factoring in those other things, so it's as high as B, and you're lucky that it is. I hate Totodile. I don't hate Totodile. I dislike Totodile, and it annoys me that everyone else likes it so much. Moving on to Generation 3. An important set of Pokemon. Probably, I wouldn't say it's what holds up Gen 3 is the starters. Because there are some great Pokemon in Gen 3, and the games are great. But there are some lacking entrances in that Pokedex. But the starters certainly aren't three of them. These three starters are all good. I don't think I can put one below B, and I don't even know if I will put one in B. Trico. Oh, I'm about to shoot myself in the foot here. No, I actually do think Trico's a B. Oh, am I putting Trico on the same level as Totodile? I do think more people like Totodile. Or do they? I mean, the markets will decide. I'm sticking with B. People do really like Totodile. Trico. People really like Trico. People do like Trico. It's a great little man. Great little guy. I'm questioning, should he be A? I think he should be A. No, he's got a Mega Evolution, so that immediately puts him up. He's strong. He's cool. Ash had one. Oh, I didn't even think of that. Ash had one, so that immediately, you got all the anime fans suddenly want one. The resale value on this Pokemon is massive. The upside is massive. I was thinking, I think it has to be at the back end of A because of the other contestants that are in it. With Bulbasaur and Squirtle in there, I mean, the test I'm going to use is if I'm walking down the middle of the road, and on one side of me there's a young trainer with a Squirtle, and the other side of me there's a young trainer with a Trico. Which one am I stealing off of? Which one am I making the effort to steal? And the answer is definitely the Gen 1 Pokemon. I want Trico, but I would not choose it over. So it's the back end of A. We'll put it at the back end of A. I hope that logic made sense. It does make sense. Giovanni would understand. Torchic B. I used to love Blaziken. It was my favourite starter when I was a kid. But I grew up. Torchic's great. Combustion is a bit phallic for my tastes. But we get over that. And Blaziken's good, but knowing what it brought on, knowing that it brought in the waves of firefighting types, really puts a bitter taste in your mouth when it comes to Blaziken. It was the first, so it's not as bad as, an Emboar, but it's not good. To know what it ushered in. I think B. Torchic's very cute. I think it would be hard to steal though. And that's actually another thing for Totodile. I think that would be hard to steal too. Torchic would be harder to steal. I'm afraid I'd break it. It's probably got a bird bone, so they're hollow. So that's a whole issue. I think it's B. I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth... The risk reward isn't high enough. I think of the 3 Gen 3 starters, it has the lowest resale value. Combat, it's great. It does have a Mega Evolution. I just don't... There's not that wow factor that puts you into the A. And then obviously S is just like, you're just getting that money. No, I think it has to nestle firmly into B. And then we move on to Mudkip. Is there even a question here? It has a Mega Evolution. It's incredibly strong. It's one of the few water types that is immune to electric because it's a ground type as well. Does Ash have one? I don't know if Ash had one. I think Ash did have one. No, he didn't. Ash had Trico. Did Brock have one? One of them had one. Mudkip's adorable. Marshtomp is funny looking, but so are all of the middle evolutions except for Grovyle. And Swamput's badass. Like, it's got everything. It really does. It is the only... I think if I was walking down the road, we're using this test. Squirtle on one side, Mudkip on the other. I'm stealing the Squirtle. A Bulbasaur on one side, Mudkip on the other. I personally am stealing Bulbasaur, but as a Team Rocket employee, I would be remiss if I didn't steal the Mudkip, because I think the resale value there is much higher. Done. Questions over with. Gen 4. GZP, did they go hard on the starters? They really, really did. Turtwig, my man. Of these 3, Turtwig's my choice. But is the resale here as good? And I think by the time you get to Gen 4, you're hitting a drop. There's a drop in demand, I think. Even though the starters are great, but I do think there is a drop in demand a little bit. So you don't have quite the same prestige of the first 3 generations, possibly even just the first 2. So Turtwig might be a B, while it is, in my opinion, one of the best starters. It rivals Bulbasaur for me in terms of what's my favorite grass starter and possibly favorite starter in general. It's an incredibly strong choice, but I think in this economy, Turtwig is a B. Yeah, no, I think it is. Now, what's not a B is Chimchar. I think Chimchar is an S tier Pokemon. I actually don't like Chimchar that much. I like Chimchar. It's cool. I like Monfernape. Fine. I like Infernape. Lovely. Of the firefightings, it's the best one. Other than that, I personally... No Mega Evolution. I'm not personally too impressed by it. But I know everyone else is. And that's what we're here for, folks. What money am I going to get for these guys? And Chimchar is one of the highest earners. In fact, I think that's fair. I think to put Chimchar top of that leaderboard, I think is fair. Just because of the mass appeal that it seems to have for everyone else, I think he just has to go second. And in fact, while I'm thinking about that, I think he's going to have to drop down to 8. I've changed my mind on Cyndaquil. I just don't think there's enough to him. That Hisuian form is great. I just think he's a bit... I don't know. I just don't think... now I'm thinking about the money more. And I just don't think I'm going to get that money with Cyndaquil. I don't see... You'd have to be... As a Team Rocket member, you'd also have to be a brilliant salesman at this point to get the money for Cyndaquil. And I don't think that's fair to include in the assumption, that we're working with. Piplup. Now, I think this is going to be a rogue choice. I think people will be surprised by this. I actually put Piplup up with Bulbasaur. I'm tempted to put it S, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you for why. Piplup is almost every single girl Pokemon player's favorite starter. Now, that is not a blanket statement. Tons of women love all sorts of Pokemon. But there is a significant chunk that likes Piplup. The resale value I'm getting for Piplup comes partially from the male audience, but a huge proportion of the female audience wants Piplup. My girlfriend loves Piplup. I would try and sell it to her, maybe. I think that's where you're really going to find the value in this thing. It is an icon in certain spheres, and I think that's really where it shines. So it definitely has a potentially S. I just think there is a smaller female fan base than there is male. More female fan base than there is in most video games, but still smaller than the men, I think. So I don't think it doesn't push it quite into S, but I do think it is a factor that you need to consider. It is one of the most adorable starters ever. I mean, this is all completely valid. They have a point. Yeah, I think it has to be an A. And it upsets me that it is above Turtwig, but realistically, if I'm trying to make money off of these guys, that's the way it's got to be. Moving on to arguably the weakest entry of starters that Pokemon has ever produced. Snivy, Tepig, and Oshawott. I'm so close to putting it lower. I don't mind Snivy. Yes, I do. I don't like Snivy. I don't like the way he looks at me. I don't like the superiority of him. But that's not why he's there. I've never heard anyone talk about Snivy. I've never heard anyone be excited about Snivy. On the black market, I've not seen any calls for it yet. I know if it appears, there will be people who want it because it is a starter. So immediately you got a scarcity, thing there. But it's not going to command the same price. It's not strong. That's what really... So it's not even like a utility thing. Our first F. And it worked hard for that F. It did. I reckon I bring that to Giovanni. I might not have a job tomorrow. Not equally. Almost as disappointing. I think, it's a fire type, so it's immediately going to have its fans. It is also the worst of the firefighting. So we also have a downside. So that we have another downside there. I don't think it's quite as... I would like to put it D emotionally, and in terms of how much value I think it deserves. But I think it will earn more than Chikorita. I think I will be able to sell Tepig for more than I'll be able to sell Chikorita. And therefore, it goes in C. I don't want it to, but it does. Oshawott. Now here's an interesting one. Oshawott has a little bit of the Piplup syndrome. It's very cute. A lot of plushies. A lot of people who like the cuter Pokemon will go for it. But it does evolve into Samurott, which people hate. Oof. So Piplup, the difference here, and this is why this is going in C, and not in A with Piplup, is because Piplup's evolution line is just better. Empoleon is great. People want it for Empoleon, or they'll keep it as a Piplup. Oshawott, you don't have that choice. If you're going for the cuteness factor, great. People want Oshawott. People don't want Samurott, really. No one does. I don't. You don't. But now another thought has entered my mind, and that is that it does have a Hisuian form. But it's also the worst of the Hisuian forms. And it just copied the type of another starter that we'll get to later. It just covered that type, so it's not a unique typing. It's not vastly strong. I think it stays in C, despite having Hisuian form, despite its cuteness. I think it does have to just live in C for a little bit. I think that's just where it. I think it's where it lives. I think that's where it is. I think it's how the cookie crumbles. Take it. Moving on to a weird year, and where I'm really going to have to tread carefully on some of these. So we can immediately get Chespin out of the way. We all accept Chespin is a D. Now, I personally think Chespin is slept on. I think Chespin's very good. I like Chespin. I like Chesnor, I think it's Full Evolution's name. Yeah, it's Chesnor. I would put it B for my personal tastes. I like that line. I think it's good. I like it. Now, does everyone else? No. Everyone hates Chesnor. I don't know why, but they do. D. D for you. I can't sell you to anyone. You're not quite F. You're not Snivy. But you're not even Oshawott, really. C you go. D you go. It feels mean. I don't feel as bad about it anymore. You're better than Chikorita. I'll give you that. Fennekin. Now, here I have to make a stand as, at Team Rocket, we may be a villainous corporation. We may be hell-bent on the destruction of the planet. Yes, we scientific experiments on Pokemon to create Mewtwo. Yes, Giovanni beats up kids, allegedly. But what I do not consent to is what has been done to Fennekin and its line on the internet. I'm not going to go into any more detail than that, but it's atrocious. And I think I can make a stand for Team Rocket and say we don't appreciate that. So that, I'm not factoring in that side of it here at all. What I will factor in is that the thing is adorable. Its whole way up, it's adorable. There is mixed reception on... Is it Delphi's? Oh my god. Delphox. There's mixed reception on Delphox. I think it's going to have to go middle of the road. I don't think we can put it on a line with Torchic and Turtwig and Totodile. I don't think that's doable. It just doesn't quite hit that note, but it is certainly better than these two. I think that's just correct. I think that's just right. It's a fire type. It's going to get more sales as a whole for that. It's got the Oshawott Piplup effect. But yeah, I just can't put it any higher than a C. I just don't see where the revenue is going to come from. Unless it was selling it to people who I don't want to sell it to be honest. Moving on to Froakie. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Now this is a pickle. This little man is one of the coolest first stages, second stages, and third stages of any Pokemon ever seen. It is an interesting typing. There's an interesting typing that Samurott tried to steal and failed. It's just one of the best starters ever. In all facets. It has a special form, the Ash Greninja. I think it has another name, but I know it is Ash Greninja. It's just dope. It's just sick. It's just good. There's nothing else to say. It's just good. It will turn your head no matter what the other Pokemon on the other side of the street is. It's turning your head. And you want to steal it. You want to nick it. Done. That's just it. That's it. It has, I want to say X Factor, but it's got the S Factor. And that's, we're making money from a Froakie. Now, Gen 7. Gen 7, Rowlet. Now, Rowlet, I appreciate any strong grass starter. I like grass starters in general, as that might have been evident for my dedication to Turtwig and Bulbasaur, though maybe not quite so evident by my hatred for the bottom three, seemingly. Rowlet is solid. It's the most popular Pokemon in Japan, I think. Is it not the most popular Pokemon, but... Oh, it might be. Or I might have just made that up in my own head. But it is well liked, universally. So you're immediately making big money. So I think it might have to be S. I think it is. The money that you can make from this thing, I think it just puts it in S tier. And I know this S tier is looking awfully crowded. That's just because you can make so much money from starters. As a Rocket member, if you manage to nab a starter, even in the F tier, I think they're actually, like, you're still getting good money. You're still getting good return on these guys. It's just like the variation of return, and it is just high. The ceiling is just high. It's crowded S tier, but they're all earned. I think they're all earned positions. The resale value on all these guys is insane. But I do think we are going to flesh out the bottom half of this coming up, because Litten, fuck. Oh no, we're not, because people love Litten. So if you've seen the last video that I did, I rated the Pokemon that I think are the worst designs, or like just the worst Pokemon in general, in my opinion, from every generation. And I said Incineroar for Gen 7. I said Incineroar. And I gave a multitude of reasons why. That being said, I know I'm in the minority. And I can sell a Litten for a hell of a lot. A shiny? Oh my word. So I think it does have to be A or high B. We're going high B, actually. We're going high B. The market's smaller because it's newer. So I think it's just a high B. That's all. I don't want to spend much time on Litten because I don't like it. I saw someone do a tier list of the starters, and they put Litten as the best. They said Litten was the best starter ever. And to you, the person who did that, I'll fight you. Anywhere, anytime. That's so incorrect. I hate Litten. I don't hate Litten. I hate Incineroar. I don't like Litten. Poplio. Oof. And we're entering dangerous territory again. It's got a big following. It's got a little one of those like cult followings. People do really like it in Prismarina, but I think on the whole, it's not well liked. It's not hugely strong. It does have fairy typing when it evolves, but I think it's just a D. I think it's a D tier. I just don't think the resale's there. It's a recent addition, so it's not, but not recent enough that that's worth anything. The market's smaller. It's just the resale on it's not great, and I reckon there's plenty of things I can pick up that will do the offensive job that it does. So you're just looking at vendorship really here. Your sales from this, and I don't think it's high. I just don't think it's high enough to warrant anything higher than a D. In my personal list, I'd probably put it up to C, but because I do like it, but I just don't think in this economy you can put Poplio above a D. I just don't think you can. Now here's Gen 8. An interesting little trio. I don't think anyone wants a monkey that plays the drums in their house. I don't think anyone's parents want it there. I don't think any person after the first week wants it there. So you got that to factor in. This thing's going to be playing the drums in your fucking house. So that's already a minus. It's not. It's fine. It's good. Its design's fine, I guess, ish. Not really. I don't like it. It's just so lackluster, I think, is the thing here. It's lackluster, it's noisy, it's annoying, it's a disappointment. I think it's worse than Snivy. Speaking of things that are worse than Snivy, Sobble. Sobble is only above Grookey because at least in its base form, it is cuter than Grookey. Drizzle, or whatever, Drizzle, the middle stage between it and Teleon. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. I hate it. I would pay people to not buy this. That doesn't make sense. I don't think I could sell either of these two really to many people. And if I did, they'd be kids, and I wouldn't be selling it to them, I'd be selling it to their parents. These are no one's favorites. They're worthless as starter Pokemon for a Team Rocket member. You can like them, but I don't like the bottom line here. And moving on to the only one that is actually worth taking, I think, Scorbunny. Now, I don't hugely like Scorbunny myself. I'm not a big Scorbunny fan. But I do think the money you make off of this one is pretty good. I think it's high C tier. It's in like Pokemon Unite and stuff. It has a bunch of representation. People do seem to like it. I just don't think that price point is there for it like there is on anything higher than C. I don't think it commands the same price as Litten. Yeah, I just don't think it does. That has drawn my eye to the fact that Turtwig is at the bottom of B. I think it's above Litten. That hurts me so much. I love Turtwig. Now, here's the interesting thing. Here's the clickbaity bit. Gen 8. Now, the right answer here is obviously S tier for all three. Because Gen 9. The clickbaity bit is here. Gen 9. And where are these guys going? Straight to S tier, all three of them. They're not out yet. If I could sell you one right now, you pay more than Charmander for it. But wait a few days. That's gone. And I've seen some leaks. And so I'm going to base it off of that. I don't know how strong any of these are. I can't remember the typings, if I'm honest. I think I do actually, but I'm not confident enough on them. I think Quaxley, I'm going to put in a high D tier. And this is because some people seem to be reacting quite well to it, even though I think it's abhorrent. I really don't like it. I like Quaxley. I don't like anything after Quaxley. So I'm putting it in D. Yeah, I think that's just fair. A little more interesting, Spriggerito. Now that's one that's the worst has happened. It seems like it's got a two-legged evolution. But I don't hate it. It's of the three, it's probably the one I will choose and is my favorite so far. So it goes at the end of C. And now we get on to the one whose name that I've forgotten. I'm just Googling it. Fuecoco. Is it Fuecoco? It is Fuecoco. Ooh, Fuecoco. This is tricky. I think it sells above Spriggerito. I think it does. It seems to be the crowd favourite of these three. It does. And I think that has to be respected. I do not like the way it's headed, personally. But it seems to be well liked. I think at this stage in the game, we have to put it just above Fennekin. I think people like it. People want it. I don't think they'll want it. No, I think I'm just going to have to put it one above Score Money. People like it. I think my resale value here is high. I think it just is going to be the one that sells the best of the three. Really, I do. And I don't think it'd be... Look at that dopey bastard. I don't think I'm going to have an issue taking it. The risk reward is good. I think it's just, solid top C. It just can't... I can't bring myself to put it any higher than that, though. Are we comfortable with everything on this list? Are we comfortable with it? Charmander number 1. In fact... What did I just do? In fact, S+. We're going to have to make an S+. Charmander is in a league of its own. Halfway through doing this, I remember it's got 2 Mega Evolutions. It's the most loved starter. I think it just needs that little edge up. It needs that little push up. It is just that bit better than every single other one in terms of theft prospect. I'm getting the most here. Is it? Wouldn't give this ranking in terms of my favorite starters, but in terms of which one am I going to make the most money off as a Team Rocket member, it is Charmander. It just has to be. Other than that, I'm pretty comfortable with how this list sits. I'm going to run it by Giovanni and my superiors. But other than that, I think we're pretty solid here. I think we're pretty good. Right. If you think Team Rocket would or should reconsider our thoughts on these Pokemon, let us know. But I think we pretty much nailed it. Thanks. Goodbye.